I had a really public breakup recently. It was a wake-up call for me in the sense of like, okay, you're going to do this on your own and you're going to be fine. And you're not going to worry about what anyone thinks and has to say, because the relationship was rocky for a very long time. So, because I don't believe another person can break anyone up. Like, I don't buy that, right?
Y'all, this didn't just go left. It completely spiraled out of control overnight. 1 minute Jeannie Mai was out here hinting at a perfect love story, teasing a fresh start with Anderson Paak. And the next, he vanishes. Gone. Done. No announcement, no soft exit, just a cold, silent dump that left her narrative shattered before it could even breathe. But that wasn't the real shock, because while she was busy trying to convince the world, she had already moved on. Jeezy was moving in silence, building something real, something calculated with Nia Long. And when he finally stepped out, it wasn't messy, it wasn't chaotic, it was clean, confident, and devastatingly public. Now the internet is asking one brutal question: was Jeannie ever really in control? Or was she already losing everything behind the scenes? Because the timing? Suspicious. The optics? Ruthless. One ex leveled up with a respected, untouchable icon, while the other walked away like he just dodged the biggest mistake of his life. And it gets darker. Old wounds, toxic breakups, cheating scandals, explosive allegations, all of it is resurfacing at once. And suddenly, the narrative is shifting in a way Jeannie can't control anymore. This isn't just a breakup story. This is a public unraveling.
I've been saying for a minute that Jeezy and Nia might be a thing, but they both kept it real cute and discreet and didn't confirm or deny the rumors. And what makes the situation even cuter is the fact that they both have helped each other heal after their divorces.
The timeline didn't just shift, it collapsed. Just days ago, Jeannie Mai was quietly trying to rewrite her story. New energy, new glow, and a subtle rollout of what looked like a fresh romance with Anderson Paak. It wasn't loud, it wasn't official, but it was enough to spark curiosity. The kind of soft launch that whispers, I've moved on, I'm winning again. But behind the scenes, that narrative was already falling apart. Because before the public could even catch up, Anderson was already gone. No joint appearance, no confirmation, no closure, just a sudden exit that felt less like a breakup and more like a quiet rejection. And then came the whispers, allegations, uncomfortable conversations, and questions about Jeannie's past comments that didn't sit right with a lot of people. Suddenly, this wasn't just a failed relationship. It was a reputation problem. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, they did. Because while Jeannie was dealing with that fallout, her ex-husband, Jeezy, made a move that changed everything. No hints, no confusion, no denial, just confirmation. He stepped out, confidently, publicly, and standing beside him was none other than Nia Long.
My older son saw me trying to keep
do what I'm doing.
But did you go to therapy with her?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Right. This has not been a easy journey. I can tell you that I'm sad. I can tell you that I'm disappointed.
And instantly, the entire narrative flipped. This wasn't just about Jeezy moving on. It was who he moved on with. Nia Long isn't just another name. She's respected, admired, and carries a level of grace that the public doesn't question. So when people saw them together, the reaction wasn't messy, it was almost approving. And that's what made it worse. Because now the comparison was unavoidable. On one side, a quiet breakup controversy and a relationship that didn't even survive long enough to be defined. On the other, a calm, composed, almost poetic transition into something that looked stable, intentional, even healing. Insiders started talking. And what they were saying painted a very different picture than what the public had been seeing. They claimed this didn't just happen overnight, that the connection between Jeezy and Nia had been building long before the announcement, through shared experiences, through pain, through two separate relationships that had both ended in chaos. While everything around them was falling apart, they were allegedly leaning on each other, privately, quietly, without pressure. And that explains the timing. Because when two people bond in the middle of heartbreak, it doesn't look rushed. It looks earned. Meanwhile, Jeannie was left dealing with a reality she couldn't spin. Because not only had her new situation collapsed before it even started, but her past was now standing next to someone who made everything look better, more stable, more genuine, more real. And that's where the panic begins. Because this isn't just about losing a relationship. It's about losing control of the story. And right now, the story isn't hers anymore.
Hi, Jeannie. It's great to see you. Are the rumors true? Are you dating Anderson Paak? Are you? How is it?
Beautiful, Jenny.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you arriving at Andy's.
But to understand how this all exploded so perfectly, you have to go back to where everything first started breaking. Because this wasn't just bad timing, this was two completely different relationships collapsing at the same time, in almost identical ways. On one side, Nia Long was dealing with a betrayal that didn't just hurt, it humiliated. Her relationship with Ime Udoka wasn't casual. They had history, a family, and years of building something that looked solid from the outside. But behind closed doors, it was already cracking. And then it shattered. Not quietly, not privately, publicly. Multiple affairs, workplace scandal, internal investigations, and then the announcement that sent everything into chaos. The Boston Celtics suspended Ime Udoka, confirming what most people hadn't even had time to process yet. And here's where it gets darker. He already knew. He knew it was coming. He knew the truth was about to explode into the public. And still, he said nothing to Nia. No warning, no honesty, no protection for the woman who had stood beside him for years. She found out the same way the world did. Through headlines, through statements, through a moment that didn't just break trust, it destroyed it. And the damage didn't stop there. Because once everything came out, the aftermath got even colder. Reports started surfacing that he pulled back completely, emotionally, financially, even as a father. Nia wasn't just dealing with heartbreak anymore. She was forced into survival mode, holding everything together for her child while processing a betrayal that the entire world had witnessed. That kind of pain doesn't disappear. It transforms you. Now shift to the other side. Jeannie Mai and Jeezy. At first glance, their breakup looked quieter, less explosive, less scandalous, but underneath, it was just as toxic. Jeannie claimed she was blindsided, that the divorce hit her out of nowhere, that she was still fighting for the marriage while everything was already slipping away. She wanted to fix it, to hold on, to keep the family together. But Jeezy? He was already done. According to him, the relationship had been struggling for a long time. Therapy didn't work. Communication broke down. And whatever happened between them, it crossed a line he couldn't come back from. Then came the allegations. Serious, graphic, disturbing. Claims of emotional abuse, physical altercations, moments that painted a picture far darker than what the public had ever seen. But almost immediately, Jeezy pushed back, denying everything, calling it manipulation, accusing Jeannie of trying to damage him because he chose to leave.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not, that ain't in my blood.
That's real.
But when you say I was trying to holler, yeah, I was, but I had to be respectful because I was still, finalizing, you know what I'm saying? So it was hard. it was tough. Staying focused.
He's on the spin the block.
Would you spin the block on that real quick?
On who?
I mean, on the other one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, everything is finalized and we good
I'm press
now.
park. I'm gonna hit the park button. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna play about that.
Oh, so you say we might see her at some of these shows?
I mean, listen.
Now you've got two completely separate stories, both filled with betrayal, both filled with pain, both ending in chaos. And somewhere in the middle of all that destruction, two people found each other. Because while everything around them was collapsing, Jeezy and Nia Long were quietly dealing with the same emotions, the same kind of heartbreak, the same sense of being blindsided by someone they trusted. And that kind of connection, it doesn't need time to grow. It just needs understanding. They started talking, spending time, showing up for each other when everything else felt unstable. No pressure, no labels, just two people trying to make sense of what they had lost. But here's the part no one paid attention to at first. The chemistry was always there. In interviews, in conversations, in the way they looked at each other when they thought no one was watching. Fans noticed. They just didn't think it would become real this fast. Until it did. And when it finally came to light, it didn't feel random. It felt inevitable. And then everything clicked into place. Not slowly, not quietly, all at once. Because while the public was still trying to process the shock of Jeezy and Nia Long stepping out together, a deeper layer of the story started to surface. One that made the entire situation feel less like coincidence and more like a perfectly timed shift. Sources began hinting that this wasn't new. That behind the scenes, long before the confirmation, there had already been a connection forming. Late conversations, shared spaces, emotional support turning into something more. And while nothing was officially labeled, the foundation was already there, quietly growing while everything else was falling apart. Which means when the relationship finally went public, it wasn't rushed. It was ready. And that's exactly what made it hit harder. Because on the other side of that reveal, Jeannie Mai was trying to hold together a narrative that no longer made sense. The perfect love story she had been hinting at with Anderson Paak suddenly looked forced, rushed, almost like a reaction instead of something real. And the internet noticed. The timing didn't add up. The energy didn't match. And when Anderson walked away, fast, quiet, and without looking back, it only confirmed what people were already starting to suspect. This wasn't a love story. This was damage control. But the damage? It was already done. Because now the comparison was everywhere. Jeezy, calm, composed, moving forward with intention. Nia Long, graceful, resilient, stepping into something that looked stable and grounded. And Jeannie, caught in the middle of a narrative that was slipping out of her hands by the second. And then came the final twist. Anderson didn't just leave. He distanced himself. Subtly at first, then more clearly. The kind of energy that doesn't just say, "I'm done." It says, "I saw enough." And that's when the conversation shifted completely. Because now people weren't just talking about the breakup. They were asking a much more uncomfortable question. What if Jeannie was the common denominator? It's a brutal narrative, but one that started gaining traction fast. One ex moving on happily, then another walking away just as quickly. And suddenly, the focus wasn't on what happened to her. It was on what was happening because of her. Fair or not. That's the story the internet ran with. And once that narrative takes hold, it doesn't let go. Now, Jeannie isn't just dealing with heartbreak. She's dealing with perception, with public opinion shifting in real time, with a storyline where every move she makes is being analyzed, questioned, and compared. And the worst part, she's no longer controlling any of it. Because while she's trying to recover, recalibrate, maybe even rebuild, the people around her have already moved on. Happily, publicly, and without hesitation. This isn't just a breakup aftermath. This is what happens when multiple stories collide and only one of them survives the spotlight. And right now, it's not hers. And just when it seemed like the chaos couldn't escalate any further, this is where the real fallout begins. Because what we're witnessing right now isn't just heartbreak, it's a full-blown public reset happening in real time. Jeannie Mai didn't just lose a relationship, she lost control of the narrative. And in this game, that's everything. The internet has already picked a side, and the way this story is being told now, it's brutal, it's unforgiving, and it's moving fast. On one end, Jeezy and Nia Long are stepping into a storyline that looks polished, healed, and intentional. No noise, no chaos, just a quiet power move that's making everything else fade in comparison. On the other end, the silence from Anderson Paak is louder than anything he could have said, because sometimes walking away says more than exposing everything. And that's the part people can't ignore. Because now the questions are getting sharper, the opinions louder, and the spotlight harsher. Every past allegation, every failed relationship, every moment is being dragged back into the light, and it's creating a narrative that's hard to escape. This isn't just messy. This is career-shifting messy. So the real question is, does she fight to take control back? Or does this become the moment everything officially unravels? Because one thing is clear, this story is far from over, and what comes next might be even worse.